Hey guys, it's Christina here. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't yet know me, my name is Christina. I am a naturopath, herbalist, GAPS practitioner, life coach, as well as a carnivore. I'm also a mom and a business owner and all sorts of other things as well, just like we all have many roles. So today is 102 days on carnivore for me. Now I thought I'd come in and do a little bit of a debrief about those last 100 days, why I started, for what are the purposes and all of that type of stuff. So for me, I started carnivore because I knew that was the fastest way for me to get the results that I was hoping to achieve. I'd been using it with some of my diabetic patients and seeing them get some great results, and I thought now is the time to apply this to me. Now, for all intents and purposes, before I began, my blood glucose was skyrocketing and it was out of control. And in the Australian terms, it was 21.1, which would be sort of equivalent to a 21.1-ish HbA1c for the US people. So fairly similar. There would have been some slight differences if I'd done the HbA1c, but I hadn't done that in a little while. So it might have been actually a little bit lower for that particular test. So it was out of control. My weight, I had been losing weight already, but I had definitely stalled for a while and hadn't really dropped much in the way of kilos for a little while. So over the last couple of years, I'd been losing weight and I'd been doing it with all sorts of different protocols. So I had used things like the HCG protocol, which is a very low carbohydrate, very low calorie protocol, and that was helping. I had lost probably about maybe 8 kilos, and then I had done a couple of other things like eating, done a couple of starts on GAPS, and so on. But mostly what I had got down to was that I had lost about 12-ish kilos over those last couple of years, and I'd kept it off. I didn't actually regain that weight, but I wasn't continuously losing more weight either. And I really wanted to lose more weight, plus my blood glucose being so high, I needed to get that under control as quickly as I possibly could, for multiple reasons. One of which is, you might notice my background. We are currently staying at a beautiful campsite because I am traveling with my family around Australia, and I am the sole driver, I'm the sole income earner for my family, and so I needed to make sure that I was going to be around for my family and that they were going to be able to rely on me to be able to be healthy and well and, drive and make money and, enjoy this adventurous life with them versus maybe supplying them with some funds through some life insurance because my health was getting to the point that it was, I needed to do something drastic. And so I decided to start carnivore for a whole bunch of reasons. Now, I have some people that ask me, did you think about keto? And I had thought about keto, but the challenge for me is that being a strong constitutional type, I really struggle with moderation. Like, I'm not very good at that. My sister is absolutely beautiful at it. But for me, if the packet of Tim Tams is open, you don't eat one Tim Tam. You eat until all of the Tim Tams are gone. And one of my strategies was to pass it around to everyone so that it would be gone a little bit quicker. But the same with like a block of chocolate. You don't eat one or two pieces of blocks of chocolate. You actually eat the whole thing. And so, I struggle with being a little bit in and a little bit out. And so I'm an all or nothing type of person. I know when I am in that all or nothing sort of frame of mind, that's when I actually really succeed. And I've talked a little bit about this with my clients in my support group, but I'll talk a little bit about it here too, but in a second. So for me personally, knowing my personality typing, how I function best, I knew that an all or nothing approach was much more helpful. And I knew when it came to keto, the goal in keto is, especially if you're trying to get into ketosis, is to stay under 20 grams of carbs. And that meant counting. That meant working out how much carbohydrates was in something and making sure that I kind of didn't go over that for the day. And then, when I have a little bit of something, it's actually hard to not have a lot more of that thing. And so just removing all of those options for me was a much simpler, easier solution than actually trying to have them in and moderate them, because it's not something that I'm absolutely amazing at doing for myself. And so having them completely out was just so much easier than having to think, and count how many carbohydrates are in something, how often am I eating it, and really aiming for under that carb count for the day. The other element of that is starting to understand the plant toxins and how those toxins can affect my body, and getting out the toxicity as quickly as I possibly can, and reducing inflammatory foods for me as quickly as I possibly could, to help me get the results of being healthy and well and have energy and all of the things that I currently have now. So today, at 102 days, I am currently down 32 kilos. Now that is approximately 64 pounds. Like it's slightly different, it's a little bit more, but that's an approximate. Now I worked out this morning because everybody in my family decided to do a weigh-in while I did my weigh, and my daughter is 32 kilos. So essentially my youngest daughter, who is 9, I lost an entire volume of her off of my weight, off of my body, which is absolutely amazing. Over the last 2 years, I've lost, that amount. Now, I haven't lost all of that on carnivore. I have lost 12 of that on other protocols, so doing things like metabolic balance, doing things like HCG. I've lost some of that weight there. I have then lost the rest and the remainder of that weight, so around about 20 kilos I have lost so far on carnivore over those 100 days. And it has been the easiest thing I have ever done in my life. I have done GAPS, which is a gut healing protocol, which I lost, I lost a substantial amount of weight on that too, and it was great, but it is a lot more complex and harder to do. There's a lot more cooking, there's a lot more things to add into that, a lot more preparation, etc. And this just kind of took out a lot of that stuff, because I didn't have to think about vegetables, didn't have to think about a whole lot of things, and so it just made it a lot more simple, which is exactly what I need as we're traveling Australia. And basically my kitchen fits into the boot of my car, and what doesn't fit in there doesn't stay. So it's mainly consists of things like a frying pan. I have a thermal cooker. I do now have an air fryer, and a big stock pot, and that's probably about it. There's a few other little bits and pieces in there, but that's the bulk of our cooking stuff. We've got a pot, a couple of pots. That's about it. There isn't a whole lot more in there. We do have the ability to grill and to fry, and to boil and so on. And so making life as simple as possible was a definite yes to me. The other thing too is, one of the things that I thought about when I was going through the process of making the decision to go carnivore was heaps of things that I thought about. But one of those things was, when I go to a restaurant and I'm picking out something off of the menu, the things that I'm picking off of the menu are not the vegetable portions. It is the meat portion. I'm looking at, am I having beef? Am I having seafood? Am I having pork? Am I having, what type of protein am I actually having in this meal? And then the vegetables are kind of like the secondary thought. Oh yes, I should have some. Let's put those ones on. And that is that process for me. And I just went, so much makes sense to me. And really, I started this as a trial and experiment with my own body to see what would actually happen. Would this work for me? Would it benefit me? Would it help me? Will it do all of those things? And so the answer to that was actually yes. 100 days later, it has absolutely done all of those things. It has removed a lot of temptation for me. It has meant that I'm full and satisfied. It has meant that I've lost weight. It has meant that my blood sugars have started to stabilize and regulate. It has meant that my energy levels have gone up, because I was starting to get to the point where I was struggling to stay awake, or I was struggling to wake up, which is totally against how my body normally runs. As a strong constitutional type, I am meant to have loads of energy and energy for days, and that is actually how my body is meant to go. And so when that is different, there's something wrong. I'm not the person who is able to have a nap during the middle of the day. In order to have a nap, I'm literally passing out with exhaustion. And so I was regularly having naps. and I was regularly finding it difficult for me to wake up from those naps. And essentially that was because my body was almost putting me into a coma, so that I wouldn't eat any more food and it would be able to deal with the blood glucose levels that it had. And so that doesn't happen for me anymore. I wake up most mornings anywhere between 4:30 to about 5:30 is usually when I'm awake, and up and running and doing things and ready for the day. And so my energy levels have increased exponentially. My blood glucose has come down, my weight is coming down, and I'm getting to have the experiences of going to shops and trying on clothes, because I can't just trust that I am a particular size anymore, because that's not the case. I had that experience earlier on, probably about a month ago, when I went, I think I should just get a couple of extra items. And this dress actually was one of them. So this is a beautiful dress. And I went in and I tried on the size that I would normally get, and it just didn't fit. It was like too loose up here, and it was baggy and didn't fit. And I just thought, maybe it's just because I've got a weird body type. Maybe that's just it. And I put the dress back feeling sad because I really liked the colors and so on. And then I went, what if I just try on the next size down? And I took the next size in and I tried it, and it fit a little bit better, but still not a great fit. And then I went, what if I try the next size down? And so I did. I went and tried the next size down, and it actually fit. It fit nice, and now actually it's starting to get a little bit loose on me again too, because I'm continuously losing weight. But it actually fit, and I was like, whoa, this is a new experience. I haven't done this for many years, haven't fit into this size for many years. But I didn't completely trust that experience, so I went and got another shirt that I liked off the rack, and instead of getting the new size, I got the one size up. So I didn't get the old size, but I didn't get the new size either. I got one size up, and I'm kicking myself because I actually really like that top that I picked out, but it is too big. So maybe I'm kind of going, if it's still available when I'm the next size down, I might actually buy it again, because then it kind of feels a bit more worthwhile. So we will see when I get there, which I'm actually not that far off of at the moment either. So I will say today, as it currently stands, I am the lightest that I have been in 9 years. And over the period of the last 100 days, I've lost nearly 20 kilos, which has been amazing and really, really easy to do by just eating meat and animal products. So that has been a fabulous experience. Now, I think probably some of the challenges are eating with other people. Not my family. My family is like totally on board, because they want me to be healthy and happy, and they can see how much better of a person I am in regards to, like, as a mum, I have more energy, I have more time, I have more patience. They see that. They see that I get to experience these new things of putting different clothes on. They see that my energy levels are up and that I can do more things and I can be a part of their life a little bit more. So it's like totally cool with them, but it's like, extended family or going out, or people who, I don't know, they kind of feel like I'm missing out on something, and I'm like, totally not, because like if those vegetables are killing me right now, I am not missing out on them. And yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge. Sometimes another challenge is sourcing reasonably priced stuff, which has been made a lot easier being now on the Big Island in Australia, because we came from Tasmania. Being on the Big Island, we have Aldi, and Aldi has a bit more price variety there when it comes to sustainable prices in meat. I try to mix it up though. So I had one of my friends on my Facebook page comment and say, do you only eat organic meat, etc.? I'm like, no, I wish. I'm totally open to being a millionaire and actually being able to afford that quality meat 100%. At some point in time, I'd like to be able to produce at least majority of my carnivore diet myself, but for right now that's not the case, and I don't have the finances to do that either. So I make the best choices that I can with what I have available. So some days, yes, I will absolutely buy the free range beautiful organic meat, but other times I am not doing that. I am choosing whatever I can afford in order to keep me healthy and well in this moment in time. And as as I go, I will continue to do that. So I will continue to support the local farmers when I can and where I can, but I also need to balance that out with the budget of my family and what we can afford and all of that type of stuff, which I'm sure most of you do as well. So I don't know if there's anything else to add to the last 100 days other than if I could go back. Oh, this is the other thing. The other thing I would add is I so wish that I had really known about carnivore before, leaned into carnivore before, because one of the things that I reflect upon quite a lot is how much pain and self-worth was lost in the process of not knowing this. So for example, every time I went on a diet or anytime I did something that was meant to be really healthy for me, like eating lots of whole foods and vegetables and fruits and those types of things, anytime I did those things that were meant to be really healthy for me and I didn't see any changes on the scale and I didn't see any progress in my body and I didn't see necessarily any improvement in my energy levels and so on, all of those times I blamed me. I didn't blame the diet. I didn't blame the protocol. I blamed me. It must be me. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken. I suck. Or any time where, for example, when I did HCG is anywhere between 500 to 800 calories a day. And you are taking drops, so you're not necessarily feeling hungry, but you're not necessarily feeling super full either, like, oh, I couldn't eat. And you have to have some self-control in order to be able to do it properly. And anytime when I would fail with some of that self-control, I blamed myself. Anytime when because the other thing with the HCG is your goal is to try and eat as little fat as possible, so that you're utilizing the fat off of your body as your fuel and your energy source. Now, anytime I went on it, I would be like craving the fatty sirloin steak. I would be craving the steaks that had the fat on them. And like the avocados even, all the fatty stuff was just like, oh my God, that's what I want to eat. And so the whole time, which you can only really do it for about 45-ish days at a time. And then you've got to have a break so that your body resensitizes to the HCG. Anytime I would do that, the whole time I would be wanting to eat these foods and going, oh my God, Christina, there's something wrong with you. You're weak, you don't have this and blah, 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 blah. And if I actually gave in to that thing, then I would feel bad and blame myself and it would be a personal attack. And if I'd only known about carnivore much sooner and I had been willing to let go of some of the brainwashing that I had, and I say that from the sense of, one of the big challenges for me in actually really embracing it was all of the education that I've had as a naturopath, a nutritionist, as a herbalist, all of the education that I've had about how beneficial plants are. And I'm not saying that they're not beneficial, but I'm saying that there are times when they are not as beneficial as the proteins and the fats. And for me at this moment in time, that's the case. And if I'd been able to let go of that a little bit sooner and just go, you know what, it doesn't work. All I've lost is 3 months of not eating vegetables. Boo-hoo, I'm super sad about that. But I hadn't got to that point yet. And we all have our journeys to get to where we need to go. And so that has been a part of my journey, was to just go, you know what, I'm just going to try it. Yeah, there's some things that I just go, I'm not super sure about, but I'm just going to try it and I'm going to see. And I'm going to open myself up to changing if it doesn't work. And I'm going to open myself up to making some tweaks and, finding my own groove with it and all of that type of stuff. I'm going to open myself to being okay with all of that and just see what actually happens. And now 100 days back, I'm like, oh, so wish that I had found this earlier, because of the moments, like the time when I had to get off the roller coaster because I couldn't fit. And I was, I was at Dreamworld. I was at Dreamworld and I couldn't get on the roller coaster because I couldn't fit. We couldn't close it and lock me in. That was mortifying. That was so mortifying to have to get off of there. The times then that I didn't get on rides with my young children at the time because I was like, well, I don't think this ride can hold my weight. The times when I didn't go swimming because I didn't think people should see me in my bathers. All of those times where I was missing out on life. And I'm not saying that you can't enjoy some of those times with having weight, but I couldn't fit on the roller coaster. They weren't going to make that thing fit me. And so, you know, missing out on some of those experiences and having the pain and the hurt from that carries with you. The same with, like, every time I got on an aeroplane, I was so nervous. Like, I would get on the aeroplane first. I'd make sure that I was at the front of the line so I could get on that aeroplane first, because I wanted to get in, squeeze myself into that seat, buckle it in, get myself to my corner, so that I wasn't in anybody else's way, that I wasn't disturbing anybody else, that they didn't have to deal with my fat, that I'd already taken care of it before they got on the plane. And the anxiety that I would feel, like, as the clock would tick and I knew my boarding number was getting close, so that I could try and be the first person on that plane, or within the first couple of people on that plane, so that I didn't have to, you know, ask anybody else to move so I could get into my seat, and I had to fiddle around with that seatbelt. Like, all of those things, like, all of those were things that, you know, if I think back, I go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that my younger version of myself went through that and had to experience that. And I wish that, you know, if I was to go back and tell myself when I was younger something, it would be, go carnivore. You love meat, you enjoy meat, you're naturally wanting to consume it. Let's just do that. And how much easier life would have been had I done that. But alas, it's all part of the journey, which means that I get to share it with you guys now. But there are some wounds there that I get to heal and I get to release and I get to let go of, that didn't need to happen in the first place. All right, that's it for me today. I've been talking for 20 minutes, so I won't make this video too much longer for you. But if you are listening to me and you are wanting to join my support group, send me a message. I would love to have you there. Otherwise, you can find it at christinamatthewson.com carnivore support. All right, that's it for me for today. Bye for now, and I will talk to you soon.